Hey everybody, Jared with Second Life Design. I'm working on a live edge inspired mid-century modern coffee table. This wasn't really something I planned. This was something where I have a couple extra days in between starting on another project, and I am just kind of making the best use of my time. I had a big offcut of a slab, and I'm just kind of freestyling this. I don't have a plan. I don't have a client for this. This isn't commissioned. This is just something I'm having fun with. So I didn't really plan on filming it, and I think have a good plan developed for it, so I'm kind of catching it up midstream here. So just do the best to follow along. We're gonna get some good ideas as far as design of mid-century modern legs and shaping and carving, so hopefully that'll help. Don't get too wrapped up in the details. I've got the top kind of started, got a good progress on that, so I'll catch up with that, and then the rest of the videos will kind of follow with that going. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're watching. This wasn't something I had planned. I am freestyling it and just making the best of it. So just having fun in the garage, and hopefully that can help give you guys some tips as well. So just keep following along and we'll see what happens. Okay, so this is my slab, and it's a red oak slab. I've had a bunch of these I've shown for different single slabs and things. 56 inches long and a median width of 33 inches. So I'd had an idea for a long time for a round live edge. It's a weird shape. I know it's been done before, but it's something that's kind of hard to define. I've got some different concentric circles drawn out here. I found a rough center. I went opposite corners from where I knew my hard edges would be, and just found the center and drew some concentric circles around. This one's 32, 36, 30, or 40, and 44. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure this didn't look just like an oval. I wanted to make sure there's plenty of live edge material to where you can tell that this is a complete circle that just has live edges on it. So when I started this, that was my plan, and I'd already done some carving, and the plan kind of developed, and here we are. So I've already done some router planing on the bottom side, but here is what our rough shape is going to look like as we're going along here. So take off the corners, and that's roughly the shape we're looking for. I'm going to do some tweaking to the edges, obviously, to make them more live edge. I am going to do a compass with my router to get a complete circle, so it is truly 44 inches. So I will be working on that. I'm probably not going to show that. There's a million and one videos about that, so there's better content out there for me, or for you, than that for me. So this is more just about the design of it, and the base is where I'm going to get that's where I'm going to try and do a lot of the focus with this. Yeah, so I think it's going to look nice, and we're going to do a lot of carving on the edges, and the traditional mid-mod tapering and that on the round parts. So there's going to be kind of a blend of two styles here, so that's always a kind of a subjective thing. Some people might love it, some people might hate it. That's fine. This is for me. I'm not too concerned with keeping anybody else happy other than myself. If someone wants to buy it, cool. If not, I'm having fun in the garage, and that's what it's all about. So yeah, I get further along with this, I'll start some more videos, but that's the rough plan as it sits right now. Okay, so I lied. I am going to show a little bit of router planing. This is a really straightforward process, really straightforward compass I have laid out here. The best thing I found, the best advice I can give to people making these, is get your router mounted and get the whole board through so you know where the inside edge is going to be. You need to measure from the inside edge of that router bit to your hole, and that is what's going to determine your diameter. I've done this a lot when I was younger, and what would happen is the hole, I would plan for it to be a 40-inch diameter, and I'd end up at 41 1/8, and I couldn't figure out why, or it'd be 39 3/4, and I didn't know what was happening. Measure from that inside diameter, the inside edge of that router bit to that hole, and that's what's going to give you the perfect circle. So that's the best advice I can give. I have this side done. It's about halfway down. I'll readjust my bit to go further. I'll knock all this off, then use a flush trim bit to take it the rest of the way, and that's what will give you that perfect circle look that I'm after. So got that side. I'm going to do this side now. Okay, picking it back up next day. I've got this thing, I got the routing all the way done, so it is a perfect circle on the ends, just the way I wanted. It was pretty uneventful and looking good. Now I'm working on the taper part. So I'm going to taper, so this is the bottom side, top's facing down against the table. I'm going to put a taper on the circled edge. So I still had my center hole, and I got some wire in here, and I drew a line. I had just an arbitrary, I think it's like 2.5 inches, and made a mark. And I had a piece of 1x material laying on the bench. That became my the second mark. So what I'm going to do is basically connect these two lines now with some carving. There's a lot of different ways you could do this. You could use an angle grinder with one of the carving discs, one of the carbide deals. You can use a flap wheel. You can use a big sander. You can use a belt sander. There's a million different ways to do this. I have found, when doing stuff like this, an electric planer is the cleanest and the nicest. It doesn't make a lot of dust, it's all shavings, and especially a smooth taper like this, I found with like a spinning disc, it's easy to get like a rounded look, and I really want a straight line from there to there, and the electric planer works the best. So I'll get a set up on the tripod and show you how I do it. It's not a lot to it. It's pretty straightforward, but we'll get some action shots here. Okay, you can see it's a really quick process, doesn't have to be a big thing. I think the people get wrapped up in having, when they hear furniture carving, they get a different image in their mind, but you see I got plenty of material left to sand, and I'll ease that transition a little bit, but good night. This is a cheapo electric planer, but it did a quick job of that, where I was taking an inch material off here and nothing up there, and being a straight tool like that, you're able to get right up to those, close to those lines, and it works pretty well. So hopefully that may get a different spin on something, gives you the idea to how to taper things. I'm a big fan of doing the tapers or thumbnail bits for routing. The fade out, like where it just fades, it takes a lot of the kind of the weight out of a piece. The visual look can really change a lot whenever you imagine this thing is 1 3/4 thick, and from the edge you're going to see 3/4 of an inch of it. So it can take a lot of the weight out of something visually, so it'll look really sleek, and that's what you're going for with the mid-mod stuff. So I think from here I am going to start sanding, and I'll kind of define my edges from where the taper ends to where the live edge starts. Getting that transition right is going to be tricky, and that's what I want to go for. That's where, when I did doing this taper is a really mid-century modern look, and I want to, I'm blending the styles of live edge to that. So I want to, get this just right, where it's going to, keep this straight line here, and then it's going to just flow into a live edge thing. So that's kind of the artistry of it and the fun part of it, but that's what we're going for. So we'll keep plugging away, and we'll see what we can get done. Okay, so I've done a little bit more to it. I'm going to talk router bits for just a little bit and how they've kind of helped me. Standard, I think it's like a 3/8 round over bit, my little palm router. So this is the top side. So I went around it with that 3/8 round over on the curved part of just the top. So that further goes to define the rounded edge, the kind of intentional shape that I'm going for. The sides were already kind of carved the way I liked. I had followed the natural kind of bark lines and just kind of trimmed them up a little bit and added a little bit more flowing to them. So I like the kind of the 2D shape where it was, the up and the side. I like that. What I have done, this is called a thumbnail bit. So you can see it's very much like a round over bit, but it has more of an exaggerated curve. So you can get in here. So yeah, it's got the exaggerated curve, and that is, I use this all the time for blending things. If I have a weird, big piece, you can get these in different, like a rise over run. You get on Amazon and search thumbnail bit, you'll find them that are, they're 7/8 this way and 5/8 that way, or there's different, the drop versus the length. There's all different of those sizes of those available. So they're really good for tabletops. If you want to just get a different kind of profile to things, it just looks a little bit more natural, and it can kind of be more flowing. So I really like that. It looks for most things, it gives it a nice appearance. And for when I'm recreating a live edge like this, it just gives it a nice, just rounded over natural feel that seems to be really popular. So at this point, I'm going to start sanding on this thing, and I'm not going to show any of that. It's boring. There's not a lot to it. And really, as far as the shaping and all that, I'm done with this thing now. So I may flip it over and just kind of touch on the points there, but I think we'll wrap up part 1 of this whole build right now. And yeah, I think that'll be kind of it. We'll leave the top as one thing, and we go talk design of the legs, and then construction of the legs, and then wrapping up, finish, and things like that for maybe the last video. So hope this helped some people, had some good tips. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And yeah, I'll show the bottom side of this too. We'll talk about that and how I help to keep the edges going. So I'll show that now. Okay, so I got my bottom edge. You can see the curve is well defined. I took that same thumbnail bit and went to the bottom side of this. So where my transition area that's gonna be kind of weird is this one corner where I want to keep this as a straight line to match the curve and that to go up. But then to get that to flow into the thumbnail bit is going to be tricky. So it's going to take just some kind of creative sanding and shaping, and I think that's going to go a long way to kind of go for the look of what I want of a very intentional circle, you know, as you would for a normal tabletop that has live edges on it. So I think that's, you know, I keep repeating that, but that's what I'm really going for. So yeah, you can kind of see definitely the straight edge here, the straight line. That's what I want, and then just flow into the thumbnail bit where it just kind of rolls over that edge. So this is the bottom. This is the last video for the top part here. Any questions, leave them down below. There will be parts 2, 3, 4, however many following. So hit the like, subscribe buttons. Really helps out a lot. I'm getting some good traction on this. If you have any other questions, send them to me on Instagram at Second Life Design. And thank you.